You know, this show is a lot more wild than the movies, which we'll get into the movies later on. But yeah. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Daily Reacts TV here, and welcome back to another TV show review, which today we are reviewing a long-awaited show that I've been wanting to watch, but I never came around to watching it, and that is It, Welcome to Derry. So It, Welcome to Derry basically follows this new group of kids that are definitely dealing 27 years early before the events of the Losers Club, stopping It, and of course killing him in the second chapter, which we'll get into later, and follow this new group of kids, the new Losers Club technically, to deal with this entity of Pennywise the dancing clown, the killer clown that goes around killing children. You get the point. You get the jizz of It before. And it's basically also the military is after It as well to turn it into a weapon, which stupid plot, get into that. And basically it's up to the kids and these other adult family, all this other stuff, to deal with It, and how can they stop an evil entity. Well, so a lot of you guys do not know, I really do love the first two movies. I did review the first movie 4 years ago on the channel, believe it or not, but we're going to do a re-review of that movie and then review the second one for the It marathon, believe it or not. So I was actually pretty excited when they announced that they were doing a show 27 years before the events of the first film. And I reacted to the first trailer on Daily Reacts Productions, believe it or not. I was pretty excited for this show, and I didn't even watch the second trailer because sometimes nowadays I don't like watching trailers to movies because it ruins the experience to movies or TV shows. It kind of ruined the experience with Last of Us season 2, which we'll get into, but overall, you know, and when the first episode came out on HBO, I did not get a chance to watch the whole entire show when the episodes came out, mostly because I was too busy working and living life, doing everything else. So obviously, I never came around to watching Welcome to Derry until recently. But the day before my birthday party, I watched the first 2 episodes before I got the DVD of season 1. Let's just say, watching this show, holy God, how did you do it again, Andy Machete? How? This was fantastic. Now, it is better than the movies. It does have its flaws, which we will get into when we get into the flaws, but I think it did better stuff from the movie, which we'll get into the elements. First of all, I want to talk about the story, and let me just say the story in this show, by far, fantastic. I thought the story was incredible from showing us how Pennywise was wreaking havoc even before the Losers Club and all of that. Like, there was moments where the show just really did really well done, which we'll get into in the later segments of, like, the horror. One thing I gotta get out of the way. Bill Skarsgård. Pennywise the dancing clown. Best performance out of the entire show. He stole the spotlight when he was introduced, when they revealed that he's Pennywise the dancing clown. Like, I can say Bill Skarsgård did a lot better as Pennywise in this show than he did in the movies. And that's saying a lot. That is really saying a lot. And you can even tell that Bill Skarsgård was ready to step back into this role. Like, you could freaking tell at moments when you see him perform the Pennywise or time to float, you know, all of that. He pulls that portrayal very well in this show, and it's just great to see him back in the role. There's these new set of kids in this entire show that literally are incredible. You got Will Hamlin, Mike Hamlin's dad, yes, Mike Hamlin's father, who dealt with it throughout the show. So he dealt with this entity before Mike could, before Mike can handle it. I thought that was pretty cool and really interesting that they did this. And then you get to Marge. I'm just going to say this. When I was watching the finale last night, because I watched one episode per night now because I work and I barely have time to sit down and watch all episodes that are hour long, which this one didn't really bother me, which we'll get into that. But let me just say, when she was revealed to be Richie freaking Tozer's mother, I freaking lost it throughout the entirety of this series. I'm like, what? No freaking way this is Richie's mom. I could tell from the personality a little bit more though too, which was really cool. I really liked that. So that twist was one of the best twists out of the entirety of the show. 100%. And that's what makes it very, very interesting. And then you get into Lily, which by far is one of my favorite characters of the show because she struggled a lot in this series. She lost her dad in a pickle accident, in the pickle factory accident, and she's been dealing with a lot. So Pennywise basically messed up her reality, just seeing her father and all that. She's just a really complex and interesting character, and basically she's the main lead in my opinion because she has more of the spotlight than all the other kids. Completely fine, but I thought she was phenomenal. She reminds me of Bill from the It movies a little bit, besides Bill doesn't scream all the time and Bill's a lot more brave. But other than that, I thought she killed it for the performance she had to bring in this entire show. Then we get to the adults. The one with the Hamlins. I love the arc of these two characters. Mike Hamlin's grandfather, Mike Hamlin's grandmother. Love their arc throughout the show, how much the dad, Mike Hamlin's grandfather, basically learns what it was and basically tries to stop the general, which we'll get into, the general from waking up it so he can sleep for 27 years. And then it's just their arc throughout the entire show was fantastic. I don't want to give out much about them, but if you watch the show, you'll know what I mean. I already spoiled a little bit of it. I'm not going to spoil much more. You need to watch the show to understand what I mean about these two characters, for sure. All right? Let's talk about the barrel in the room. How it got the real Pennywise the Dancing Clown by eating him. We all knew that it didn't create the form of Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Let's be honest, we all knew that. Because there is no way in hell that this thing would just come up as a clown. So basically, they made an episode, the beginning of the episode, explaining how Pennywise the Dancing Clown became that entity. And it's basically Bob Gray. And Bill Skarsgård playing a different kind of version of Pennywise that doesn't want to kill kids, that doesn't want to eat them. I thought he did a phenomenal performance as this character. And I thought they made him more creepy in chapter 2 for some off reason. But in this episode, in the episode he's in, he's not even that creepy. He's not even an a-hole. He's just a guy that cares for his daughter and wants to be back in the circus. And then, it took him away from his daughter and all of that in the 1900s, So I love that trait of Andy Muschietti and Bill Skarsgård understanding, oh yeah, we never told this story in chapter 2, so let's tell it here. You know what I mean? So I thought that was phenomenal. I forgot to mention one more character, Dick. Apparently this dude was from The Shining, I guess, but I thought he was phenomenal in the show. I love his power. Everything about this character just makes me love him even more. You gotta watch the show to understand why. The next big thing I want to talk about is Rich. AKA how Marge get the name Richie from. This character. And this character had a better arc. He made me laugh throughout the show. He made me smile. But when he freaking sacrificed his life for Marge, that hit hard. That really hit hard. And I thought that the character deserves so much. I was like crying. I was like, dang, this character really cares about other people but himself. And you could tell by the performance of the kid that played him as well, because they both are like the same, I guess. But other than that, the horror. Let's get into the goddamn horror. Okay. When I say the horror is more messed up in this show than the movies, I'm not kidding. Like, oh my God. The horror in this show, messed up 100%. There's a scene literally in the beginning of the first episode where there's a kid named Natty that goes in a car with a family, right? Anyways, before I got interrupted, but like I said, there's a family in the car, and basically as it was progressing, it was getting worse and worse to the point that we figured out, oh, this is Pennywise. This is Pennywise. This is it. And it basically, it was so messed up. It was one of the messed up scenes. The parent gave birth to a mutant baby. Yeah, it's just, the final climax in this show is phenomenal. I think it's one of the most beautiful final climax in the entire series, in any show in general, by far. But, unfortunately, unlike the movies, just like the movies, it has its problems, which we are getting into. Basically, the biggest problem with the show, by far, is the general. I thought he was freaking stupid throughout this entire show. 100%. Stupid 100% in the entire show. Let me just say, yes, there is a reason why he is trying to trap it and basically turn it into a weapon. Because get this idiot witnessed this thing when 27 years early. And survives it. And then got to leave Derry and forget everything. You know what this motherfucker did? Well, as soon as he returned to Derry, he remembers everything. And he's like, you know what? I want to turn this creature into a weapon. I want to use this creature to put fear into the Americans and make America great again. What? That is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard of a character. And then when the motherfucker died, I was like, thank you for killing him, Pennywise, because I could not handle any more of him. Frick. It was so bad to the point where I'm just like, I can't handle anymore. I really can't. I legitimately can't handle stupidity more and more. I just can't. It's just, is it just me? Or is it just like it gets worse and worse with his character? And don't worry. The actor's doing fine. It's just the way how he is. Another bad thing I could say about the show is, like I said, the whole army stuff. It is completely not interesting. Whenever there's an army moment coming in, I just look on my phone being like, okay, cool. Nothing interesting. Why the heck is the government involved in this crap? Why are they even going after the creature? It's the most boring part of the show. 100%. I would have loved if you would have taken it out of the show and it wouldn't change it one bit. You know what I mean? Because that's what makes this thing 100% weak, is because you put one of the least uninteresting part into the show. Another thing I did not like is why we had to wait for the reveal of Pennywise, the dancing clown. We literally had to wait until freaking episode 5, guys. Why are we doing this? We've seen the movies. We do not need to wait 5 episodes to see our favorite killer clown in the show. We did not need to wait. That is one of the things that just makes this so obnoxiously pitiful. I'm watching these episodes, I'm like, come on, guys, just show us the freaking clown. Like, I don't need to wait. And then as soon as Pennywise came in, the show came in better. Because if they would have revealed Pennywise in the show, I probably would have left the show completely. 100%. And then another thing I gotta say, that was kind of bad. the soundtrack wasn't really better. You know, I like the soundtrack in the movie a little bit more, the background soundtrack, but other than that, that's enough bad for me. Overall, Welcome to Derry was a phenomenal fun. I really had a good time with the show. And I really hope when we get season 2 that it gets better and better, because this show is phenomenal. I cannot wait to see what they do next with the story and tell us to go when they go back to another 27 years later, like 27 years. So I cannot wait for that. Obviously, I got to go take care of Rip, but my score for it, Welcome to Derry, is, of course, a 8 out of 10. I phenomenally love the show. The characters grew with me. They have a great arc. Pennywise, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise is better than ever. And most importantly, I thought this show held heavily really well to turn into a It movie, basically. And that is my review of It, Welcome to Derry. I would love to know what you guys think of It, Welcome to Derry. Make sure you smack like button. I haven't done this in a while. I would love to know what you guys think of Welcome to Derry. Tell me in the comments below. Have you watched it? If you did you love it, hate it, or thought it was meh? Let me know in the comments. I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you smack the like button, press the red button, which is subscribe. Turn on your notifications so we notify a video I make. Links in the description to Daily Reacts Gaming, Daily Reacts Productions, Tyler and Bodie, Discord, Instagram, TikTok, and of course Mojo Entertainment. As always, I'm Daily Reacts. Take care, you guys.